we will learn about the UART communication. So this is the outline of this lab. There are two ways to communicate. So first you will use the wire to communicate between your base port and your computer. Another way we will use this XB that you have gotten just now to communicate through it. So in the wired communication, you will have a cable connected here through to your computer. So if you can see, look at your base port, there is two ways to connect the power, but only this this port will have both UART and power. So if you are using wired communication, you need to get this cable connected to your base port. And these two will be used later after we get the wired communication get done. So before we start, I want all of you to try to set the jumper pins together with me. Okay, you all have the base port, right? So if you want to have the UART work, you need to configure the jumper pin properly. So this is your reset buttons, and these are the jumper pins that needs to be there. All of you know where is the reset button, right? It's here. This is a reset button. Okay, so make sure all the jumpers are here. This is the one part of the jumper pin configuration. Another part is you need to remove these two jumpers. So 1 and 3 at the J here. So it is on this green box. If you have the reset button, okay, you can look at this box. And there are two jumpers. So you need to disconnect the one on top. Two jumpers on top. Okay. The two jumpers on top. Okay? So once you remove the jumper, we have already finished the hardware configuration for the UART. So we'll go to the next step, which is the software configuration. So in this software setup, these are the two local functions you need to create. And I would recommend you to create a new GPIO demo file and then work for this assignment. So these are the two local functions we will be creating. And then these are the library files we need to include. First one is the UART library file for the UART application. This is for the configurations of the pin. And then these two will be using it. This one will be using it in the main function, and then this one will be using it in the second. So let's talk about this local function first. So in this local function, you will have this baud rate, data bits, and priority, and the stop setting. And all of us will be using 115/200 data transfer rate. Okay, and then it's like GPIO or I2C, SPI. The UART also, you need to set all the pins for the UART communication. If you look inside the schematic and the base port manual, you'll realize that we're using port 0, pin 0. So how does the UART work? You have your LTC, and then you have your computer. So the UART works by transmitting data through one line and receiving through another line. Okay. So in our case, we'll be using port 0, pin 0, and port 0, pin 1. Okay. This port 0, pin 0 is for the receiving, and this one is for the transmitting. So we want to configure this for the UART protocol, and you can see that we are selecting port 0, pin 0, and port 0, pin 1. And since this is 10, it means 2, right? We need to select function 2. That's why we are selecting function 2 for the pin select configuration. Okay, you get this function is called inside this initial UART. So once you call this function, you will be already utilizing this. Okay, so in the main.c, we will be initializing this UART.init.UART to enable these two functions. So these two lines are for initializing the UART, and you will see that we are using receive and transmit 3. So we are using the UART 3 for our case, and then this is for enabling the UART. Okay. So make sure you include these 3 library files, and you have to include this one also. Include Spring.h. I will explain to you why do we need that later. Okay, include this after that. So you will get this one. You will get used to it. So after this, you need to use this TerraTime setup. So I was talking to you. You will be communicating to your computer, right? So this computer communication, we need to download a software called TerraTime. Okay. So I will show you how to utilize it. So later you will be going back to your computer and download this software, TerraTime. So once you install it and you open it up, this will be what it shows. So this first panel shows that which USB port and how do we want to communicate. So if you look at this, we are choosing serial. We are choosing serial communication through a USB port. So you have to click this, and you will see that there are multiple ports and pin here. For your laptop, you might not see multiple of them. But if you see them, we are using USB serial port, COM4. Okay. So if you don't connect your USB port to the computer, you won't be able to see any of this. You will see this being disabled. So make sure you connect your baseboard to your computer before you switch it off. Okay. Then you create a connection between your baseboard and your TerraTime. So after I selected the USB serial port, I'll press OK, and this is how your TerraTime is like. So this is the first part of this. Okay. The next 2 parts, we need to also configure another 2 things. We need to set up a terminal. So in the setup, we are going into the terminal. In the terminal, you need to choose particular functions here. So here we need to select. We need to select CR plus LF, and here we need to create CR plus LF. So what does it do is actually, if you don't create CR plus LF, this is your TerraTime, right? If you don't choose LF, if you write data here, another new line came in, it will also overwrite here again. So it will go to another new line. If you choose LF, after this data is generating here, a string is generating here, it will go down to another line. Okay, so you need to make sure that you have created just select CR plus LF. Another thing you have to select here is a local echo. So if you select local echo, if I type something, I want that value that I type to be inside here. If I type through a keyboard, that is called local echo. If you don't select the local echo, whatever you type, nothing will be shown. So for example, if I don't select it, if I type here, you don't see anything on my keyboard. If I select this local echo, you will see whatever you type. Okay, this is just a local data you can see here. So you need to select local echo and receive and transmit CR LF of these things. Okay. Another setup you need to do is data transfer rate setup. This is the data transfer rate setup. If you look inside here, you will see that we have a serial port, and we are choosing 115200 just now, right? If you look back to the slides, the data transfer rate we have set for the RPC communication is 115200. Okay, so we will need to choose 115200 here. Okay, so once you choose 115200, you have finished all the setting up of the TerraTime. So you can use it. So what I want to remind you is every time you close this, you need to do everything again. TerraTime setup, then serial data rate change. Okay, so you need to remember that. This is for the TerraTime setup. So this is a program we'll be writing. So I want you to create a new workspace. Write those 2 local functions for initialization. After that, write this main function down. So what happened here is that in this main function you have variables, and then we have instructions for sending and receiving data. So if you look at this here, we are putting the welcome to E202 form message inside the MSC. After that, we'll be transferring it to the UART send. This UART send function is the instruction where you will be sending this welcome to E2024 line to here. So if you look here, you can see that on the TeraTemp you have E2024. Okay, so let's try to understand this. How does this work? It has 4 input variables. The first one you have to choose a. You need to choose a UART type. So if you remember, we are selecting transmit and receive 3. Right? In the initialization, if you go back, we are selecting UART type 3. Okay? So you need to choose UART 3. It's also because your transmit and receive is also 3 here. So the first input variable, you need to choose LPC UART 3. The second one is you need to send this message, put this message inside here. This is a message you're putting. So if you remember, if you can look at this clearly, when I define this variable, I define this as a pointer. So I'm putting this pointer with an unsigned 8-bit integer. And then this line is meant to tell count how many characters does this string have. If you look at this strlen, it counts the string length of this message. Okay. Why I wanted you to include this string.h is if you don't put this string.h function, and if you write this line string length, you won't be able. This one won't be able to work. There will be an error. So make sure you include this header file in your program. The last part is called blocking. Actually, it's just to stop the other programs working while you're transmitting or receiving data. Your processor will stop whatever it is doing, just transmit the data to here. Okay? So this line is sending a string of data in a character manner. It will send one by one. So we know how to send. So we are sending from baseboard to TeraTemp now. So we are sending from this to this interface. How about this one? This one is for receiving a single character. If you look at this line, the only difference you see is here. You are sending 1 byte. Okay? So you are sending data, you are receiving data. So you are receiving data 1 byte from the TeraTemp. So if you type A, it will be receiving A and put it inside the data. Okay? So it's from here to here. You're receiving from the TeraTemp. So another line we have put in here is once we get the data 1 byte from the TeraTemp, we will be transmitting back. You see, these two lines are the same. You see that? LPC UART3. This is the data we are sending. The only difference here is the number of bytes. Right? We are sending 1 here. So we are sending 1 character out. We are sending 1 character out, A. So if you type A, this line will try to capture A, and you will be sending it back to the TeraTemp A. I will show it to you later with the demonstration. So this is receiving and this is sending a character. So I was explaining to you that you can receive a character, but what if I want to receive a string? What if I want to receive something called hello life, which is a string, right? So if you want to receive a string, you need to read the data in this manner. You look at this while loop. What do you see here? The same instruction here, right? What happened here is that you are receiving string in a character by character manner. If I say hello, the first data you'll be, this is from TeraTemp, right? The first data you will be getting is H, and you'll be loading it inside the line. So if your line has the array 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll be getting H, E. One loop you will get the H, put it inside. Another loop you will get the E, put it inside. The third one you will put the L. The fourth one you will put 0. See? So this is the loop here. You can see that it's capturing at 1 character at a time. Okay, and you put it inside this variable. So what is this condition? So after I have typed a string inside, and I finished, I will press enter. Only when you press enter, it will stop storing the data. This is where you stop storing the data. Once I type enter, it will quit this loop. This while loop will quit. So that's how you capture the string. You are capturing the string in a character by character manner. So this is for capturing a string, but how do we send a string? So I've explained to you that we can send a string like hello or welcome to E2024 in this manner, but there's another way to send it. Using this function, UART send string. So what's the difference between these two? the difference between these two is instead of telling the length of the message, I just put the entire variable inside. You can see that I said I want to use the UART3. I just look the variable inside straight away, and it will send the string outside. So let's try to understand why is it. Why is there a difference between these two functions? So I will open this up. So if you look inside this function, what do you see? Isn't it the one we write just now on top? The type of the UART, the message we are sending, the length of the message, and the blocking. Okay. Actually, these two functions are doing the same thing. It just helps you reduce this one variable. It just helps you do that job. Okay. So if you can use these two functions, and they are adding the same way. And then the last part, we just print this out in the console here. Okay, so I will show you how I do that. So I have finished all the setting up. Okay, I don't need to go to the setup again, right? Do you want me to go to the setup? So I finished setting it up. So the next thing I will do is I will debug. Okay, so let's debug the code. Okay, so we have finished debugging, so I'll run this. So once I run this, you will see the welcome to E202 is displayed here. So because I am asking it to send this from here to here. Okay. So you can see the welcome to E202 is here. Then what is the next step? It's gonna be stopping here. It's gonna wait until you send a character. So the program is now here. Okay. It is expecting a character input from here. And we haven't put any character input, so it doesn't continue to the next part. So I'll put one character, I'll put A, I'll put V. Okay, when I type V, do you see another V appear? This another V is performed by this function. Okay, once I type V, it will capture this V, load it inside the data, it will go to another line and send it back. That's why you see another V here. Okay? Because this is sending back the V back to this. After that, I will type a string. Okay, so assignment 2 is fine. Okay, I will type this, and once I press enter, this, as I explained earlier, this while loop will try to read this entire string, put it in a line, and then send it back here. Okay, so this is how it works. And you can see that the last part, there is a console output here. Okay. So what I want you to do is try to download this DirectM fast place in your computer. If you're using the school computer, you don't need to download it. The lab computer already have it. And then try to create a new workspace for this today's work. Create a new local function. These two local functions, and include the header file. After that, write this message down. Okay, main program down. And I want to see all of you can work on the wire UART first before we move on with the wireless UART. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Oh, already there.
Yeah, then copy paste.
You just need to load the program. Put the library file separately. The code is already in the
扣已经在 wiki 上面了。快，快，再说。打开你的 wiki。看一下，看一下。
Oh, they can just copy paste it, yes. Okay, the code you can find it in the NUS wiki.
Okay.
In the GUI topic, you can just copy the two local functions and the main program. Okay? Oh, good.